Pokok Prison EMCO to begin 11th October. Schools with positive COVID-19 cases will be ordered closed. Good evening, I'm Cynthia Arthur. You're watching News at 10. The government has decided to implement the Enhanced Movement Control Order EMCO at Pokok Prison area in Kedah for 14 days, effective 12 midnight on the 11th of October. Senior Minister for Security, Dato' Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, said the decision was made following a spike in COVID-19 infection in the area involving 3,262 prisoners and 587 prison staff.
Pelaksanaan PKPD ini bagi membendung jangkitan dan penularan COVID-19 di kawasan penjara tersebut dan juga bagi membolehkan aktiviti pengesanan kes secara bersasar dilaksanakan oleh Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia.
Speaking virtually via the Defence Ministry Facebook page today, Dato' Sri Ismail Sabri said during the period, any visitations involving family members of the inmates will not be allowed. Meanwhile, the senior minister also announced the government's decision to extend the targeted EMCO in Semporna, Lahad Datuk, Kunak, Tawau for another 2 weeks until 26th of October, as well as the EMCO in the Tawau prison and Taman Ehsan quarters in Sabah until the 25th of October.
Kerajaan sebelum ini telah pun melanjutkan PKPD di penjara Tawau dan kuartus penjara Taman Ehsan bermula daripada 26 September hingga 9 Oktober 2020. Walau bagaimanapun dalam tempoh tersebut masih terdapat kes-kes baru COVID positif yang direkodkan. Mengambil kira penilaian risiko terhadap penularan wabak ini, maka sidang khas MKN hari ini bersetuju untuk melanjutkan lagi PKPD di kawasan ini bermula 10 Oktober sehingga 25 Oktober 2020.
In a related development, Dato' Sri Ismail Sabri also said the government has decided to enforce the EMCO in 7 localities in Sabah following rising number of COVID-19 cases there. The localities in Semporna involve Kampung Bangau-Bangau, Kampung Panji, Kampung Air, Kampung Selamat, Kampung Simunul, Kampung Pinggir Bakau, while the one locality in Kunak is Kampung Pangkalan. The EMCO in these 7 areas will be enforced from the 11th of October until 25th of October and will affect a total of 35,643 residents. He said the Health Ministry will be conducting targeted screenings to test all the residents involved in these areas. He added that essential supplies and food will be distributed by the state government and coordinated by the State Disaster Operations and Control Centre. In another development, Dato' Sri Ismail Sabri explained that weddings are allowed in areas under the conditional MCO. However, he said that wedding organisers and participants must comply with the government's health and safety regulations to curb the spread of the COVID-19 virus. According to the senior minister, personnel from the People's Volunteer Corps RELA must be present to supervise wedding ceremonies and receptions in villages and housing areas to ensure the regulations are followed, while those held in hotels will be under the watch of hotel personnel.
Bagi majlis yang kurang daripada 100 orang dalam satu masa, 2 anggota RELA kita kira mencukupi. Kalau 100 hingga 300, 3 anggota RELA dan begitulah seterusnya. Dan kehadiran RELA adalah untuk memastikan tidak mengganggu, bukan bertujuan untuk mengganggu apa-apa majlis, tetapi memastikan pematuhan dilakukan oleh penganjur majlis tersebut.
For ceremonies with more than 500 guests, Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri said the decision on how many personnel to assign will be up to Rela and will also depend on the size of the venue. The government has designated 3 districts in Sabah, Sandakan, Papar, Tuaran and Klang in Selangor as COVID-19 red zones and placed them under CMCO starting today until 22nd October.
The number of new COVID-19 infections in the country in the last 24 hours remained at 3 digits, with 354 new cases recorded. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said the case tally now stood at 14,722, with 3,863 active cases. He also said the death toll in Malaysia increased to 152, with 6 new deaths reported today.
Ingin dimaklumkan daripada 354 kes baru yang dilaporkan hari ini, 2 kes adalah kes import yang telah mendapat jangkitan dari luar negara, melibatkan warga negara Malaysia yang mengembara dan pulang dari negara India 1 kes, dari negara Oman 1 kes.
Elaborating further, Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham said the majority of new infections were discovered in Sabah, with 274 cases after more screenings were done by the Health Ministry, especially in the 7 districts under EMCO. He said in Kedah, only 10 cases were recorded following the successful control of the Tembok cluster. In Selangor, there were 24 cases, Kuala Lumpur 10 cases and 2 cases in Putrajaya. The Health Director General said 10 cases were reported in Sarawak, 8 in Pulau Pinang, 5 in Johor, 5 in Terengganu, 4 in Negeri Sembilan, and 1 case each in Perak and Labuan. On the 6 new fatalities, Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham said all of the cases involved Malaysians in Sabah.
Meanwhile, the Health Ministry has reported 3 new clusters in Sabah, Perak and Terengganu. According to Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham, the Atap cluster, which was discovered in Kota Kinabalu, Sabah, has reported 4 positive cases.
Kluster baru ini telah dikenal pasti di daerah Kota Kinabalu, Sabah. Kes indeks bagi kluster ini iaitu kes 12,880 telah dikenal pasti positif COVID-19 hasil saringan bergejala pada 4 Oktober 2020 dan dimasukkan ke Hospital Queen Elizabeth, Sabah, dan saringan kontak rapat telah mengenal pasti 3 lagi kes positif COVID-19. Sehingga 9 Oktober 2020, 12 tengah hari, sejumlah 49 individu telah pun disaring.
Explaining further, Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham said the Bah Lada cluster in Perak has reported 4 positive cases, while Bah Sahabat cluster in Terengganu reported 10 cases. The index cases of both clusters were patients with history of travelling to high-risk areas in Sabah. The Health Director General also informed that the Telaga cluster have ended after 28 days of surveillance and monitoring period ended. A total of 16 positive cases and no deaths were reported from the Telaga cluster.
The government has agreed to have the Ministry of Education MOE issue a school closure order if there are teachers or students tested positive for COVID-19 without having to wait for a risk assessment by the Ministry of Health MOH. Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said the decision was reached at a special meeting of the National Security Council on the management of COVID-19, which he chaired via a video conference at his residence today.
He said during the meeting, new cases of COVID-19 in Selangor and the Federal Territories were discussed, including cases involving the pupils at Sekolah Kebangsaan Bangsar in the nation's capital. Tan Sri Muhyiddin said the meeting also focused specifically on the COVID-19 situation in Sabah. In the latest posting on his Facebook page, he said since the number of cases in Sabah is still showing an upward trend, the meeting also agreed to have the MOE to look into the need to close all schools in Sabah, of which Senior Minister of Education will make an official announcement. Tan Sri Muhyiddin said the meeting was also informed about the positive development in Kedah, of which the meeting was informed that most of the clusters in Kedah, including Sivaganga, Muda and Sanglang clusters, are no longer recording new cases.
Coming up next, SOCSO identified 30 employers abusing wage and subsidy fund. The Social Security Organization, SOCSO, has identified 30 fraudulent employers who have been abusing the wage subsidy program since its inception in April. Its Chief Executive Officer, Dato Sri Dr. Muhammad Azman Aziz Mohammed, said this includes the case of a managing director who submitted a false account statement in order to claim 415,000 ringgit of wage subsidy.
Dato Sri Dr. Muhammad Azman said that SOCSO has also received 281 reports from employees who claimed that they had not received any benefits from the aid received by their employers.
Ada beberapa lagi syarikat yang telah dikenal pasti dan kita akan membawa maklumat ini kepada pihak SPRM. Kita telah memulakan kerjasama dengan pihak SPRM untuk kita mengambil tindakan susulan. So, message di sini, kita kalau boleh minta mereka untuk tampil. Kalau tidak, mereka perlulah berhadapan dengan, you have to face the music. Kalau anda tidak jujur dan memberi maklumat yang tidak tepat, tunggulah di mana pihak berkuasa akan menyusul untuk tindakan susulan.
Briefing reporters today, Dato Sri Dr. Muhammad Azman also called on employers who had submitted fake information to receive the monetary aid to voluntarily step up and return the payments made back to SOCSO. He also called on employers who have made their claims which are not intended to be used for their workers to rightfully pay their workers or face charges. To date, 11.8 billion ringgit wage subsidy payments have been made to 322,022 employers to keep their workers afloat.
The Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission, MCMC, has denied a fake news that alleging that 13 cabinet ministers had been infected with COVID-19. The Commission hereby warns the public against spreading false news and to always be wary of the spread of dubious information and news.
MCMC said Senior Minister for Security, Dato Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, also had refuted the claim in his daily press conference, apart from the rebuttal statement published in the Sebenarnya.my portal. The Commission, in a media statement today, said stern action could be taken by the Royal Malaysian Police and the MCMC under the Communications and Multimedia Act 1998 for the offence. The Commission said the public could verify any information or news items at Sebenarnya.my portal or its Telegram app and channel all fake news via its web portal.
The Malaysian Statistics Department, DOSM, has refuted a statement that claimed the government prohibits face-to-face census or by supervisors and enumerators until the end of this year, disseminated over social media and WhatsApp. Chief Statistician Dato Sri Dr. Muhammad Uzair Mahidin said field activities for the Population and Housing Census 2020, Census 2020, and a routine survey will continue by adhering to Standard Operating Procedures (SOP) following the increase in COVID-19 cases in the country.
In a statement today, Dato Sri Dr. Muhammad Uzair, who is also the Census 2020 Commissioner, explained that the field activities comprise the distribution of e-Census ID postcards, activities with community, and e-Census clinics at selected locations. He said the DOSM has improvised measures for Census 2020, including rescheduling the second phase of the face-to-face census from 20th January to the 6th of February 2021. With the rescheduling, the first phase of the Census 2020, namely the e-Census, has been extended to the 21st of December and pre-registration was reopened from the 7th of October to the 30th of November. Dato Sri Dr. Muhammad Uzir also urged the public to cooperate in making the Census 2020 and the survey a success while taking precautions in accordance with the current situation. This includes taking advantage of the e-census, e-survey and telephone interview or the computer-assisted telephone interview.
The trial of Dato Sri Najib Tun Razak and former Treasury Secretary General Tan Sri Muhammad Irwan Sedigar Abdullah on 6 charges of criminal breach of trust (CBT) involving 6.6 billion ringgit of government funds will begin in September 2021. High Court Judge Dato Muhammad Jamil Hussein fixed the trial date after allowing Defence's Counsel Nur Shahirar Hanapia to clear all trial dates set for next year before Justice Muhammad Nazlan Muhammad Ghazali.
Judge Muhammad Jamil fixed the new hearing for 32 days on every working day in September and October 2021, except on Fridays, with the prosecution expected to call 50 witnesses. The new date was set to make way for the completion of 2 criminal cases of the former Prime Minister. Dato Sri Najib is facing 2 trials, namely one Malaysia Development Berhad, one MDB case, and the audit report tampering case, which were expected to be completed in June 2021. The court also fixed the 6th of January next year for case management for parties to announce any new developments on the 2 cases. Previously, on 24th of October 2018, Dato Sri Najib, 67, and Tan Sri Muhammad Irwan, 63, pleaded not guilty on 6 charges of criminal breach of trust when the case was mentioned at the Sessions Court.
An Indonesian fisherman feared drowned after the boat he was in with 3 other men capsized 5.3 nautical miles southwest of Muka Head, Teluk Bahang early yesterday morning has been found safe last night. Pulau Pinang Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency MMEA Deputy Director Maritime Commander Ahmad Faiz Madghani said the victim was found adrift near a fish cage area in Pulau Betong at 8:20 p.m. yesterday. According to Maritime Commander Ahmad Faiz, the victim was wearing a safety jacket which helped him to float longer in the water until he drifted to the fish cage area.
Jadi ini memberikan peluang yang tinggilah kepada mangsa untuk survive di laut dengan memakai jaket keselamatan.
Meanwhile, the victim
Sapta Pratama Putra 25 described the incident as a second chance at life.
Wah, sini sudah gembira, seperti saya hidup lagi 2 kali. Lagi 1 hari saya sana ingat tak boleh hidup lagi. Saya ini pun sudah tenggelam, setengah sudah tenggelam. Tinggal ini saja kepala saya sikit.
In the incident early yesterday morning, 3 local fishermen were rescued by nearby fishing boats. However, one of them, the skipper, died while the 4th, an Indonesian fisherman, was reported missing after their boat capsized in the waters near Muka Head. Fuel prices will drop across the board for the 1-week period from 10th of October. The new prices will take effect by midnight tonight. The retail prices of RON 95 and RON 97 will drop by 4 cents per litre each, while that of diesel will go down by 1 cent per litre for the 1-week period from the 10th of October. The Finance Ministry, in a statement today, said the new prices are RM1.67 for RON 95, RM1.97 for RON 97, and RM1.69 for diesel. The prices were set using the automatic pricing mechanism formula based on the weekly retail prices of petroleum products. It said the government would continue to monitor the impact of changes in world crude oil prices and take the necessary steps to ensure the welfare and well-being of the people. The weekly fuel pricing mechanism was reintroduced on the 5th of January 2019 under the automatic pricing mechanism APM. Under this system, fuel prices are announced every Friday and remain in force for 1 week.
That's it from us this evening. In our top story, schools with positive COVID-19 cases will be ordered closed. Join us for updates at noon at 12:30 tomorrow. I'm Cynthia Arthur. Thank you for watching.